Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. We are in the dog days of summer. We are winding down on August, looking towards September 1st, which will be the close of a quarter, also the end of the fiscal year for many governments and other agencies. And we could see a big change. So, our buddy, I Am For I Am, is here to talk to us about the big bubble and who holds that needle. Give us a like and share the video. Hi there, I Am. I was just saying a quick hi to everybody in the chat. Good to have you.
Howdy, everybody in the chat. I got my $5 coffee plus the $20.80 for government.
Stop. I cannot.
Oh, and another $6 for the debt payment.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're paying someone else's debt. You know, today, I know we're not going to talk about this hot topic or whatever, but the Republican Party was filing impeachment charges on Biden a little late, if I had to say so myself, but they have found recordings and documentation that they monetized his office for financial gain for their family, which we've all known about. But
exactly.
The wheels of justice turn slowly, if at all, to be honest. So
he's going to be out or 6 feet under before the.
Yeah, he didn't care. Yeah. He's shot. He didn't even know what's going on.
Yep.
Anyway,
I have a dark show today, or conversation to have with you and everybody in chat. And so, listener, watcher, beware.
Okay.
All right.
Was a good warning, disclosure.
And remember, I'm just a guy on the internet. This isn't financial advice. I'm not your daddy, so do your own research.
Yeah, I actually have a friend that's going to do a disclaimer for me. That I can start putting on all the things, which I'm like, that's so ridiculous that in a country where you're supposed to have freedom of speech, I have to have a disclaimer that says, if you listen to me and make a bad choice afterwards, then you don't get to blame me. How about you just take personal responsibility yourself? Like
common sense. Hello. That's what the law used to be. Yeah, throw it out.
Yeah,
there are no laws.
Should we screen share?
What's that?
Or should we screen share? Are we ready
to? Yeah, let's screen share. So, you got the everything bubble on the.
I do. Yep, everything bubble. I would ask everyone to, just as a reminder, go join us on den.social and join the Mighty Lair, and be part of the conversation there so that we can include you in your thoughts when we do the show.
Yeah, so kind of zoom in a little bit. So there's a thing called the everything bubble. And, you know, it has basically all the debt, national debt, credit card debt, home debt, auto debt, bonds, all that, everything. And the needle is going to pop this bubble someday, who knows when. Mm-hmm. And I want to remind everyone that, in a sense, we hold the needle. And it's our choice to pop this or not. And it's kind of scary because it's a lot of responsibility when you start thinking about the consequences, right? So I want to touch on something, and again, remember, do your own research. I'm just a guy on the internet. So many of you probably have heard of the or watched the movie The Big Short. Have you seen it, Lisa?
I probably have in the past. I just don't really remember it, to be honest.
It's about the 2008 real estate, bust. Which created the great, 2008 recession, as they call it. Had a great cast. Actually, Brad Pitt helped produce it. He played a small role. The Christian Bale, phenomenal actor, was kind of the lead, and it's all based on a true story. Steve Carell from Office is in it. He plays a really good role in this, and Ryan Gosling. I highly recommend it. But the quick story of the 2008 bubble bust in the real estate thing was, these investors came up with a new product. Let's take a boring mortgage and let's bundle a whole bunch of them together. We'll throw some bad ones at the bottom and we'll put some really good ones at the top. And it'll be this nice big bundling of mortgages, and we'll sell them. We'll sell them as a bundle. So remember, people were started, this went crazy, and it was actually invented in the 70s, but it took till 2008 for it to really mushroom and explode.
You are kidding me.
No, it was invented in the 70s. So it took a while for it to catch on and for them to interject the derivative part of it. The derivative basically was, hey, I will bet this one's going to fail. No, I'm going to bet this one's going to succeed. And it became hypothecated, and all of these loans and everything else, it just got crazy. And well, they were running out of mortgages. So now they needed to write more mortgages, and we needed to build more houses. And next thing you know, mortgages were under somebody's dog's name, no, and just about anybody, a homeless person could get a loan.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And it got crazy because they needed more of these to put in together. They're called credit default swaps, and you've probably heard those terms.
I have heard that term. Okay.
And this is all got jungled up, and it really became Wall Street. That's what happened in 2008. Everyone wanted to place their bets, the derivatives on this housing market, and there were some that caught it early and were able to short it and make a ton of money. That's like Christian Bale's character. And he's kind of like Elon Musk. He's a little, maybe not autistic, but he doesn't get along well with people, but he's good with numbers. And he figures it out early. Same with Steve Carell's character. Really good movie. Encourage you to watch it. But what happened was this law of economics steps in. And I love the law of economics. And basically, we've all heard about, this law of supply and demand. Well, really what it is it's price discovery. It's price goes up and price comes down, and based on how much scarcity there is and this kind of thing, right?
That would be in a free market, right?
Right. And the law of economics basically doesn't go by a watch. It has its own time. So it always wins. The law of economics is actually more powerful than government. Side note, that's why I like counter economics to fight our corrupt political system. But anyway, so what happened was there was too many builders, and they built too many homes, and there was too many of these fraudulent loans, or loans that were really people that shouldn't qualify for a loan, right? And it all bust. It went broke, and it popped. And unfortunately, the bankers got their bailout, and nobody really went to jail. But the law of economics never fails. That's what we can take from this. Yes, the government stepped in, created TARP, paid off the bankers, but eventually, remember, the law of economics doesn't go off of a clock. So,
but if the government paid off the bankers, why did people lose their home if their home was paid off, if the mortgage was paid off?
Lisa.
The bankers got paid, right? So shouldn't that mean
the
house was paid off?
But they let them fail first. They let them crash first, because the monthly payment happens faster than the government signing something into law, and then getting trickled down in from the banks all the way down to the mortgage. And remember, they couldn't even figure out who owned which mortgage at one point. Even the mortgage insurers, remember, they were involved in it too, AIG. But anyway, long story short, Lisa, what do our property taxes pay for?
Oh my gosh. Okay, right now, my city, the timing of this is so perfect. My city has just sent out a notice that we're going to be voting, if we have a vote in November, to raise our property taxes 14%. Because what they usually use, and then they had this, it was the most ridiculous argument. This city council member said, well, everybody's like, well, you usually use your sales tax and whatever to pay for infrastructure, whatever. Why are you raising our property tax? And they said, well, we want to save our sales tax for fun things. because don't you want to live in a city where things are fun? So you should pay more for your property taxes, and then we'll use sales tax for fun. Like it's absurd. It is absurd.
Oh, it's a great marketing ploy. It's a great way to sell it. Sell it to it. Sell it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, they of
So
course pay for, yeah, like you said, all the fun things like, our parks, our city parks, and
mhm.
the fun things of not having to go pay for, a new tire or suspension damage because of a pothole. When your car hits a pothole. So it pays for the roads, police and fire, right? Our security, and of course schools. Schools really rely on property taxes for the building and the maintenance and maybe a new school. Teachers, of course, teacher salary, admin salaries, pensions, right? They need that property tax money to cover those pension payments for all
But
those
I thought the
retirees.
pensions were money that had been paid in by the worker while they were working for the government to then invest wisely for them so that they would have pension money.
Well, if it wasn't a Ponzi scheme and if the
I see.
pensions made enough money in interest to cover the new ones retiring, and there was new people coming in, and so what there is it's a negative cash flow. There's more going out to cover the current payments than there are pension money going in, so there's always these shortfalls. But anyway, basically that's what you're right. This is what property taxes go for. And everyone wants to live in the good neighborhood. Oh, you want to buy a home in this neighborhood because it belongs to this school district. Oh yeah, this is the best school district. I want my kids to go to that school. So it's things like that. They sell us on it. But what happens is the tax man cometh to price our homes and values. But before the taxman cometh to collect, the taxman is actually getting, and excuse me for all those who are listening or woke, I said tax man, I should have said tax person.
Get over it and scroll on if you're woke.
Okay. So anyway, what's happened is they're getting involved, really, to be honest with you, in the appraisals. So who gains when the price goes up in the home? Well, of course, we as homeowners, hey, our house went up in value. I got more equity, or you know what I mean? It's part of my retirement plan. I'm going to pay off this home and it's going to go up in value. Then I'll sell it. I'll downsize into a smaller home and I'll have this big pile of cash to live off of and drink my $20, $30 coffee.
Right.
So anyway.
It's a fake wealth, though.
Isn't it?
Because these people, like right now, we have several people that we love and care about that got HELOCs because their home value's up so much. And so they got a home equity line of credit, a HELOC. And I'm like, oh my God, do you know what you just did to yourself? Because your home price is inflated because of BlackRock and all those things buying up the homes to falsely inflate the house price.
That's right.
I never thought about the tax benefit of it for the city, for the prices being driven up.
So that's what happens is really the second winner here, winner, chicken dinner is, guess what? The government, the local governments, because property tax values go up, they get more in property taxes, right? Because it's just a percentage of value of the home or the real estate of the property. So, and in the chat, check out Real Estate Mindset. That's exactly, who is that, Sue and Sam?
I don't know.
That's exactly where we're going. Wow, they're doing the CADs. That's right. So that's basically the third is the insurance companies because they can charge them a higher premium. The people who suffer are those who are low income because then they're priced out of the American dream. The fixed income owner, homeowner, they're hurt too because maybe they've paid off their home, but the property taxes keep going up and up and up, and their fixed incomes aren't going up fast enough to match the property taxes going up because the value of the home is going up quicker than their COLA or cost of living allowance, their fixed income, even those on pensions, right? Mm-hmm. And it goes further in that those that suffer, like your seniors that have these fixed incomes, they get to the point where they can't cover that property tax payment. And the American dream gets lost, right? So then you throw in like all the other things like inflation, cost of eggs, all of the general inflation, you got a recipe for disaster. And that's where we're going to go. So let's fast forward to today. And we now know where our property taxes go. Now, get this. Some states like Idaho and Michigan are talking about eliminating property taxes. That's being discussed and voted on. I love the idea because I think of the WEF. You won't own anything, but you'll be happy, right?
Right.
Or the idea that the tax on property taxes create liens on your property, even though you bought and paid for your property, but then you lose it because you can't afford property tax.
Yeah.
It's cruel. So I like that idea. Let's hope maybe that catches on. Now the bad news. Again, not financial advice, and ignorance is bliss, right? That's what they say. So sometimes it's better not to know. So there's a scripture, Ecclesiastes 1:18. It basically says, knowledge increases sorrow. So now that I've given you that warning, all right, you might want to listen to the rest at your own risk. And this is, someone just stole my thunder, but there is real estate mindset. And what I'm going to tell you is our local governments are bankrupt. Our schools are bankrupt. Mm-hmm. They cannot cover their pension payments. They are doing anything and everything to survive. And that is the reality. That is part of the everything bubble and the squeeze and the pinch that we're all feeling. The interest rates have gone up, so their bond interest rates are increasing. Their payment, their nut that they got to cover every month, every year is going up. Now you're going to say, stop. I already know this. It's nothing new, right? Well, do you or do you not know this? Because this is what I want to talk about. What if the local governments and our schools were in on this? What if it was a corruption scheme, like a RICO thing, racketeering by an organization?
Oh, I can promise you it is. We met with our city council person, and she talked to us about the reason that they actually price up the water during the summer because people are watering their lawns. And if you go over a certain volume of gallons, then you get an additional fee of luxury tax because you might have a pool. So you might be a rich person, and they're going to charge you even more per gallon for that because they need to be able to give those kickbacks and subsidies to the builders who are gentrifying the downtown as the elderly are not able to pay their taxes and lose their homes. Right. And the big builders are coming in and sweeping up that land and getting subsidies and kickbacks and gentrifying the hell out of your town.
That's right. Well, when a company's getting ready to go under or bankrupt or is having a trouble staying afloat, they get desperate. They will play with their numbers to try to get more loans. Individuals are racking up and living off of credit cards, doing whatever they can to cover the cost of living and to try to cover things. Who's to say that our local governments, our schools aren't doing the same damn thing? They are. Yeah. They are. That's plain and simple. So this is really 2008 all over again. And the law of economics, remember, is about price discovery, scarcity, law of supply and demand. But it's really about finding the price, the real price, in this case, the real price of property, your home. And what if it's been inflated too much? Are you willing to pop that bubble? Because that means you're going to lose equity. You see what I'm saying in that picture where you're holding the needle? Yes. Well, if everyone bands together, or this bubble just pops because you didn't maybe poke the bubble and it popped, that's what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. Supposition or theory. Enter the channel real estate called Real Estate Mindset. And it's these gentlemen right here. Awesome. This guy, Mitch, he is a developer, and he happens to be a developer in North Texas. And the other gentleman who has this channel, it's called Real Estate Mindset. And this particular episode was the first one. It was July 29th, 2024. And I really encouraged the audience to go check this channel out. Don't leave us yet. I'm not done talking.
After the show.
after the show. But if remember, this is a warning. This is a warning. These two individuals are real estate experts. I'm not a real estate expert by no means, but they're telling you what is happening, and they're giving you the behind the scenes, and they're talking about CADs. CADs, remember this term, CAD, Central Appraisal Districts.
Okay.
And basically what they are, and they essentially, you could say they answer to the comptroller of the state. But they have this sophisticated software in these databases, and they are working supposedly independently, determining the price of property and doing an appraisal on the property. Well, what they have found, and Mitch has filed lawsuits, and these lawsuits are starting to take off all over the country. And so it's almost like The Big Short, but in a different way.
Okay.
What they found is like a CAD took out whole mass of properties out of the database, put it in an Excel spreadsheet, manipulated it, and plugged it back in.
The
Because
same thing they're doing with the inflation numbers.
yes,
Stop people from seeing it through inflation.
Connecting the dots, who's to say it's not happening with our home values? You know, people are outside. My home went up this much %. Okay, yeah, I got to pay a little bit more property taxes. Oh, look at that equity. And then they take out these equity loans and this kind of thing, you know. Yeah. But remember the law of economics. It's about price discovery, right? And these folks have a supposition that it's actually, they bring the receipts. They have the receipts, and that's why I'm asking you to look at it. And Texas could be screwed because we don't have income taxes here. We rely on property taxes. All right. My property tax on my
joining BRICS. And so they could be dealing with tariffs, all kinds of things. Like that whole game, that's a game changer to me.
Right. And RICO has kind of like the Howey test has three check boxes. Well, RICO laws have 7. And that's basically racketeering. You know, it was created to fight the mobs. Well, Mitch is saying that these cats and school districts, everyone in compliance are almost working in collusion. Wow. And it's a racketeering thing. It's huge. It's a huge fraudulent thing that's happening. So the key takeaway is just like a government, just like a business might be desperate to try to stay above water and not close its doors. I believe our school districts are broke. They're bankrupt, meaning they have too much liability for their asset. And to be honest with you, the value of a building, a school building, is not that much in some respects. The land can be worth more than the building itself because it's made specifically for a purpose, right? It's not like you can convert it too well into something else. So really their valuation is inflated as well. But we're not talking about schools building valuation. We're talking about our homes, you and I, all of us in the chat that might own a home and are thinking about buying a home. Or let's own a home. Or let's think about those that are renting and you're paying a monthly rent or lease payment. Well, the property taxes is passed on to you, the renter. And so therefore your rent is inflated because the value of your property, your apartment or condo or duplex, whatever, is actually inflated. So you're paying more than you should because the property isn't worth that. There is a thing where they talk about, remember in The Big Short in 2008, people were getting me loans and they weren't qualified. Well, in 2018, this is going to freak you out, Lisa. In 2018, this is 6 years ago. Now, keep in mind that you have to have qualified income to be able to qualify for a loan, a home loan, right? And you can have too much debt. So your monthly payment for your home loan isn't really supposed to exceed 43%. Now, it's more if it's an FHA loan, all right? I think it's like 53% or something like that. Don't quote me on those numbers, but it's very close. Okay. But imagine you buy a home and you go in at that 43% level in 2018. Now you have inflation upon inflation upon inflation, cumulative year after year after year. The price of eggs, the price of auto insurance, the price of your new car.
And our incomes have not inflated with that number.
Right. So you have general inflation, you have housing costs, and you have interest rates. So your interest rate went up on your new car that you bought, so you're paying more for your monthly car payment because the interest rate is higher. It's not necessarily that your credit rating went down, it's just the cost of everything, and the interest rates are higher. Well, the interest rate's higher on those bonds too, that that they're using to cover all this. So we're right back in 2008. But here's where I say it's different. The everything bubble didn't pop in 2008. I believe that we have more connectedness to that everything bubble than ever before. And I'm not sure if the government is going to be able to step in and just inflate their way out of this, or step in and cover these costs. We're still going to be in the 2008 all over again. People are going to lose their homes, and the bankers are still going to get bailed out. I don't know if that's going to happen this time around.
I've heard that the bail-in is going to happen this time.
Exactly. And you'll lose your home.
Not only your home, but all of your savings, anything in the accounts, anything that the banks have access to, make them whole.
Exactly. So we're in subprime loans all over again. There is conversation out there that's happening. And again, I encourage you to go to Real Estate Mindset. They're talking about 40, 60% of people really are in a home that they can't afford anymore because it's been inflated in value. The property taxes have increased. And then you add inflation, you flat interest rates, and people are taking on additional work, additional jobs. And we're down this ugly, ugly rabbit hole, Lisa. So how big is the corruption? Well, like I said, there's a BLS report in 2018 that said that in 2018, 16% of the loans shouldn't have been written in 2018. What do you think that number is today? I don't know. But I know it's north of 16%. I can guarantee you that, and throw in, like I said, today's inflation. Oh my gosh. So these CADs, these central appraisal districts, and I don't like centralizing anything. That's why I got my here. So centralized. These Nimrods here, I think, are under a tremendous amount of pressure, and they sold their souls and they're committing fraud. It's from what I'm gathering. I'm no expert. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, and I hope I am. I hope that Real Estate Mindset and those experts that are better experts than I are wrong, but it sure doesn't feel that way. And remember, these CADs, they're doing other things too. They're determining what a property is. Is it farmland or is it residential, or you know what I mean? And which carries on a different property tax, category. But we're relying on our property taxes to go up. That's the American dream. I'll get my home paid off, it'll go up in value, and I'll sell it, and I'll live off of that money plus my pension fund or my 401k. And the 401k is coming right back and buying real estate through BlackRock and everything and competing against us. So they want it to go up too, right? So they can pad their balance sheets. It's sick. It's sick. So what I'm telling you, and I'm contending, that our local governments, who are far less corrupt than our federal government, they're corrupt too. And they're addicts. They need a fix.
They're compromised because of their need.
Exactly, Lisa. Exactly. I couldn't say it more. I couldn't say it better. Their drug of choice are property taxes. That's their drug. That's what they're shooting themselves up in their arm for, to cover their payment or to expand government on the local level. They're addicts to property taxes. Well, if we get more people, we need more property taxes and more people in local governments and more, this or that and the other thing, and another bond and another bond, and let's vote in another bond and save the children and all of these things. So they're the pushers. They really are. So we have an everything bubble is basically where we're at. And a lot of people are going to be upside down. And if home values, remember the law of economics, I don't know what the overshot is. And every region, every state, every city is different. But what if it's 40%, Lisa? What if my home is overvalued by 40%, and the law of economics comes in. It's a pop basically in the bubble, and let's say me and my neighbor and a few other of us are upside down with our banknote on the home. We owe more on the loan than
And the
the
bank
home is
can
worth.
call that amount at any time. If
Right.
it becomes upside down, they can call that amount. And if you cannot come up with the difference, they will take your home.
Right. Remember, I said knowing is you suffer with knowledge sometimes, and it's hard to live with. And boy, I sure hope I'm wrong on this one, because it's a snowball of debt in that everything bubble. And maybe if this pops, maybe this is one of the big triggers for everything to pop. I don't know, sovereign debt included.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Does it mean Great Depression? Are they going to say, hey, well, don't let any crisis go to waste? Let's bring in UBI, Universal Basic Income, and CBDCs, and grab even more liberties and control us at an nth degree.
Well, now that the Social
by design.
Security database has been hacked,
I might as well just,
they could use that as the excuse. I mean, there's a plethora of excuses of how they could manipulate all this. It does sound a lot like The Great Taking, which a lot
Yes.
of people have read or watched and looked into. And so I think we might be led up to the point of believing this happened, or it even happening, but people not being kicked out of their homes yet. And then
Right.
the people say enough. Like,
Right.
I never thought it would get to where, they're harming your children, masking your children, whatever, but we all complied and everybody went along with it. And until their mighty bank accounts, or maybe their homes, get taken from them, literally the fear of the loss of what you were calling the American dream is
Yes.
taken from them. Will they stand up and say, no, enough? I care now.
So there is a silver lining. Remember, there are more of us, and they are supposed to be our servants, and we can take back control.
Yes.
And we hold the needle. And it's holding the needle is also like holding the Band-Aid. Do we rip it off real quick and get over it through this pain and suffering and get on with our lives and fix it? Some of us are going to use that needle and poke it, or it's just going to happen through the law of economics. So poking the balloon is kind of like on our own time, but it's going to pop. We all know it, I think, on this channel. We all know it. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. Yeah. Either way, it's going to pop. But I guess the good news of the day, it didn't happen today. And it probably, let's hope it doesn't happen tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow and it doesn't happen tonight, that gives us time to prep and prepare. Pay off another debt or two if you can, if you got a little bit of extra money, or maybe put away some protein and some rice and beans, and buy an extra group of canned goods or something. Put it away somewhere. Buy some more guns and ammo.
Arms.
Prep. Right. Lead. Prepare for the worst. So the good news is it hasn't happened yet. And that gives us time to prepare. And who knows? This can could go down the road for another year, 2, 3, 5, 10 years. I don't know. We don't know. But you better start thinking it could happen this month or next month or next year and plan accordingly. So there is good news. We outnumber them. We control the needle. So I encourage everyone to check. I posted the whole detailed article on din.social in the Mighty Layer.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And there you have it. Are we at the Big Short all over again? I don't know.
Oh, I'm just trying to pull it up. I can't get it to pull up on this browser. Sometimes if you're having any trouble getting onto din.social, try a different browser. Seems like they're in the fight for truth and freedom, and they face a little challenge every once in a while. But please consider joining us. So there is a link in the description where it will take you right to the Mighty Layer, so you can create an account. You can use any email you'd like. You can make up a new email and use it just for din.social, and that's for support to get to help you if you need any technical support. But otherwise, we'd love to have you join us. So.
Right. And you can follow me there. I'm also on Twitter or X. I am we. But yeah, come follow me over at DIN.
Yeah, and I put that information in the link as well, so you can find IAM's handle on Twitter and follow him as well. Thanks for joining us again. I love having you on. Great conversations, and very timely for everybody right now to kind of get ahead of the game. So,
thanks again, Lisa. Appreciate it. Everybody in chat. See ya.
Okay, bye.